Welcome back, everyone. It's here. And today I've got some r/BestOf for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading you the posts, giving you my opinions, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. This post was collected by Choice Evidence 1983, and their tagline is, of course, it dawned on me that he was a wizard. Original OP is TA Nice Possession, posted to r/relationship advice, April 9th, 2021. If you may have heard this in the past, there is a new update to it. Fiancé, 35 male, compared my, 28 female, antidepressants to cocaine and wants me off of them. This video is probably going to be demonetized just for even mentioning cocaine. Awesome. I have the loveliest, most charming, and attentive fiancé. We had a whirlwind romance for 9 months in which he proposed over quarantine. He's everything I want in a partner, and I love him deeply. The last 3 months were rough for me. I had a car accident, started a small business, and had a family member pass away. My fiancé and I weren't getting along because I was stressed, crying, and had to enter serious therapy to deal with the effects of the accident. I was unhealthily dependent on my fiancé and would call him nightly, just sobbing my eyes out. I started taking a low-dose antidepressant. Finally, I'm not fixated on the accident. I'm happy and go lucky. I'm back swimming again. My favorite activity. Calling friends, and my business is doing well. I admit I have less time for my fiancé. I'm much less needy. Sometimes I can't get to my phone in time and miss his calls. When before, I couldn't leave my room and needed to be connected 24/7. My fiancé sat me down and expressed his concerns. He told me he loves me, but he's noticed a change in personality. He said he spoke with a few doctors and antidepressants can even be compared to cocaine, and that I could be doing lasting damage to myself. He said, I can support you through all the pain and messiness. I love you, and I want you in my life forever. He said I should call my doctor and request to come off. I kind of balked, and he didn't take it well. He requested that I at least respond to his messages in a reasonable time, that he knows me well, and this new personality isn't the real me, and I'm moving too much. I'm kind of concerned with other behavior from my fiancé. He wants me to wear baggier clothes to the gym and wants to be involved in every decision I make. When it comes to meeting new clients, he wants to know who they are, otherwise he says it seems shady. I have a possible contract that would take me out of town, and he expressed concern, telling me I need to stay close to family. I love him, but every conversation turns into him telling me that I have to work harder so he can trust me. Besides counseling, what else can I do? Edit, just want to say I have no plans of getting off my medication, it's non-negotiable. Too long didn't read, fiancé doesn't want me on SSRIs. Relevant/top comments. Commenter 1. Please do not marry this man. I want to say break up with him because it sounds like you're nowhere near ready to consider doing that, but please just hold off on marriage for the time being. You seem like you've got a pretty good head on your shoulders and you recognize these red flags for what they are. At the very least, would you consider going to therapy with him or taking him to see your doctor? The most charitable explanation here is that he doesn't understand antidepressants, so maybe speaking to a professional about it. I don't know what kind of doctor he was talking to before, but it sounds like some major bullshit to me. Would it help? Also, congratulations on digging yourself out of the emotional hole that can come after a traumatic event. That's not easy, and you should be proud of yourself for using the tools you needed to. Opie responds, thank you so much for the lovely response, it means a lot. I suggested 5 months of premarital counseling because I want to make sure we're on the same page. He's hesitant but willing to make it work. I asked him to seek therapy on his own, and he said it's a possibility. So I have to take my time and see. Commenter 2. Do not come off medication. Do not give him access to your medication. He will tamper with it. I'm not joking. He's lying about speaking to a few psychiatrists and antidepressants being like cocaine. He wants you off of them so that you're dependent on him again. This man wants to control you. That's what he's interested in. Why wouldn't he be happy that you're doing so well? Your whirlwind romance started with love bombing and now he's panicking because you're happy and less dependent on him. Keep an eye on your medication at all times. He does not love you. He wants to control you. OP responds, I was a sobbing mess off my medication. It wasn't stable. He's been testing me lately and I'm not as reactive. I just don't understand why someone would want to do that. It doesn't make for a healthy relationship. Commenter 3 responds, wait. He's been testing you. What does that mean? Look, you are doing incredibly hard work and doing well coming off incredibly hard things. This guy sounds like he wants to keep you suffering, so you're dependent on him. So he can be your savior. So he can keep control of you. You've known him less than a year and he's telling you that he knows your real personality? Have you talked about him to your therapist and about what he's doing and saying? OP responds, he said that I sound too happy and that I must be dating someone else. As I said in another comment, my medication helped me shrug it off, where previously I would have become upset, cried, or pleaded with him. I've spoken with my therapist and she advised me to proceed with caution. Commenter 4. That's because your therapist is highly trained and can see the signs of this abuse, controlling, unhealthy situation you're in. Let me guess, your fiancé doesn't think you really need a therapist, right? That he alone can help you through everything? You need to take a huge step back in this relationship so that you can recognize the patterns of abuse. Don't get married, and don't stop taking your meds. OP responds, yes, he said I could come to him before the doctor. General question of how long into the relationship did OP's fiancé propose to her? OP responds, he proposed at 3 months, but I want a long engagement. Commenter 5. Red flags of coercive control here. He likes you dependent on him. I'm positive he did not find a few doctors who said antidepressants are like cocaine and can lead to brain damage. This statement would be laughable if he wasn't so obviously trying to control you. Lovely, charming, and attentive is how these types usually start out. It's called love bombing. Start being strong and independent, refusing to play his games, and see how long that lasts though. Proceed carefully because I've seen this turn ugly. Commenter 6 responding to Commenter 5, there's actually a name for this tactic that some abusive partners use to control the other partner's mental health, including their mental health medication. It's called mental health coercion. The National Domestic Violence Hotline did a national survey on it a couple years ago, and many callers reported various forms of it. Partners hiding their medications, demanding they not use medication, impeding their access to therapy, gaslighting them, telling them they deserve to be abused because they had depression or anxiety, etc. Substance use coercion is similar and is also a type of domestic abuse. OP responds, are you serious? I'm at a loss for words. My fiancé isn't at the point that he's hiding medication, but he told me he's extremely concerned and would advise me, even if he was just my friend. He believes I need to face my problems and that he can help me work through them, as if he could be my coach. It's a very weird situation where he likes me being his little project, but the truth is, I'm doing a lot better. I've healed and grown. I guess it is a way to be controlling. Update 1, April 15th, 2021, 10 days later. Hi everyone. Many of you commented advising me that this was an emotionally abusive relationship. I admit I am naive and didn't want to believe that was the truth. I spent some time with my fiancé on the weekend and he continued with his pep talk about the antidepressants. He said I should taper them off to 5 milligrams and gave me a timeline for doing it. I had only been agreeing with him so we didn't have to argue, but secretly, I continue with them on my own. After this weekend, we had a wonderful time. He tells me he has hope for our future, that he supports me going through the pain, etc., etc. On Monday, we were talking and I brought up a pretty big issue in our relationship. I won't go into specifics. He's at fault though. That isn't solved. My fiancé went ballistic. For the first time, he screamed at the top of his lungs with his face distorted and spit flying everywhere. He told me I didn't have a brain big enough to change and that all I do is sit there and smile with my fucking medication, and that I'm a pitiful, almost 30-year-old woman who's pathetic, and if I want to see real trauma, he could show me. He said, you're an evil person who's deliberately hurting the only person who loves you, and how dare you bring up these issues when you know I'm stressed? Because I was stoic, he became even more enraged until I had to pretend to cry. Yes, I had to pretend to cry because that's the only way he would calm down. I do feel guilty because he's stressed. He said, If you believe I've overreacted, delete me. But if you want to listen with your heart and put everything on the line and be a ride or die team, I'll come to your place tomorrow. Suddenly, he told me, something's come up. Let's talk in a week. And he has completely disappeared / gone offline. Because he was screaming at me in front of my family members, I think he may be committed to a psych ward? I don't know. I finally found the courage to just block him completely. It hurts like hell, but it's the only way. Too long didn't read, Fiancé lost his mind and is most likely hospitalized. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. I have to tell you, it is very unusual to conclude that because someone shouted, they've been committed to a psych ward. That is just a really dramatic notion. Why didn't the family members present intervene when he was screaming and spitting on you? OP responds, it's not because of the screaming, it's because of his unusual / manic behavior that's becoming increasingly worse over the last 4 weeks. He's hearing and seeing things that aren't happening. He was telling me I was evil and that I had to wake up. Edit, there are many other things I didn't include in this. Commenter 1 responding, quote, because he was screaming at me in front of my family members, I think he may be committed to a psych ward. Those are the words I read. Did you mean to write something different? At any rate, why didn't the family members who were with you when he was screaming intervene? OP responds, it was over video. They don't speak English and couldn't understand. Commenter 2. Sounds like bipolar psychosis, which is no joke. How absolutely ironic that he'd be screaming about you being evil and stupid for treating depression while he's having a breakdown. You deserve to be in a healthy relationship with someone empathetic. He is not. OP responds, let me tell ya, it is absolute hell. OP on being brainwashed from her fiancé. I am beyond brainwashed. He calls me every day, from 40 minutes to an hour, to tell me everything that's wrong with me and needs to be changed. Over time, I've started to believe it. I've lost myself. Commenter 3. I think he said something came up and went silent because he's trying to still manipulate you. If he's unavailable, then you are supposed to be trying to get a hold of him and chasing him. I'm so glad you didn't. Keep him blocked because eventually he will be coming back and trying to love bomb you again. OP responds, he made me promise we would talk every day no matter what. Together forever, yada yada yada. I have to understand these are all lies. Is OP living with her fiancé? Can she move out? OP responds, we do not live together. Everyone in my life is aware. I've been very upfront about everything. He was so angry, I honestly do not believe he is coming back to me. Questioning what was the trigger for OP's fiancé's mood to change. Was it her medication? OP. He became angry because I asked him to delete his Tinder profile. That's the fucking truth. Update 2, October 9th, 2021, nearly 6 months later. Hello, I wanted to take the time to thank all of the lovely commenters. It was hard to hear and understand at the time, but you really helped me see how fucked up that situation was. Thank you for all the resources which I had to read over and over in order to try to understand. My ex-fiancé and I are no longer together, and we have zero contact. We had a terrible breakup in which he threatened to traumatize me. I spiraled into a pretty bad depression and continued with serious therapy. I took a 2-month trip abroad and entered a healing retreat that was out of cell service. I basically spent 7 weeks crying, vomiting, and healing in the jungle. The good news is that my anxiety has lessened to the point that I no longer take any kind of medication. I lost 20 pounds, I bought a new apartment, started a new job, and slowly started dating someone new. I made a lot of new friends, and I'm actually allowed to see them now. My new guy is about 100 times better and has never tried to control me in any way. I have bumped into my ex-fiancé 4 times, and honestly, I kind of recoil at the sight of him. I have no idea how he was able to control my life so much at one point. That was a really dark place. It'll take me a long time before I love anyone again, but that's okay. I am giving myself a lot of time and space. Things aren't perfect, and I'm still processing, but things turned out much better than I hoped for. So thanks again, Reddit. Less than 3. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. I'm curious if he was ever diagnosed with anything as you suspected, or his family suspected? Or maybe it was just the commenters who suspected. Was he institutionalized that week he had to go away? He sounds like a freaking psychopath, and I'm so glad you're safely out of that relationship. If you run into him again, you may need to consider that he's stalking you. OP responds, well, his parents still enable him and hide him away from the world, so I doubt he will ever be properly diagnosed or get better. From what I've seen, creeping on his social media profiles, his thoughts and beliefs have become more outlandish and strange. And no, he wasn't institutionalized, he was just ignoring me. Like an asshole. My new boyfriend lives 4 blocks from his house, so seeing him may be unavoidable. Commenter 2. Wow, this was a major red flag controlling jerk she was with. Any depressants likened to cocaine? What a devious creep. So glad she got away. I want to know more about the healing retreat in the jungle at a cell range. That sounds glorious. Opie responds, hi, I went on an ayahuasca retreat in Peru, at a cell range and eating a no salt, spice, red meat, alcohol, caffeine diet. Editor's note, OP made an appearance into the original Best of Redditor updates that contained the original and 2 updates at the time. I am adding her comments for more details. Commenter 3, I wonder how much of her original depression episode was just being with this dude and not the accident. OP responds, I started the antidepressants because of anxiety from him. 7 months later, I'm off medication and haven't thought of going back to it. In fact, I haven't had an anxiety attack in about 2 to 3 months. New update. January 16th, 2016. A bit over 4 years from the previous update. Final update. Mods, I totally understand if you remove this, I just wanted to post a 5-year update. Hi Reddit! 5 years ago, I posted about my extremely toxic fiancé here. I almost forgot about the whole ordeal, but I started thinking about it because I'm engaged. It took a lot of trial and error, but I'm a lot happier. When I think of my ex-fiancé, I'm honestly shocked that I couldn't imagine that life would be good again. So dramatic. It's been a wild 5 years, but I moved to New York, went back to school, and I went back on medication. I did find love again, except this time my fiancé supports and encourages me to grow, and understands that I'm stubborn about my independence, hence why it took 6 months for me to leave a toothbrush at his place. Anyway, I've learned that love is about understanding and respect, which is not something I thought I deserved when I first posted. So thanks again, Reddit. Too long didn't read, my ex-fiancé is still a loser. Also, yes, the mods did end up removing this update post. I would say I'm shocked, but I'm not. Also, if any of you in the audience feel kind of a kinship with OP and their relationship, maybe you should reevaluate that relationship. Also, I do find it ironic, if not telling, how often we'll see a post start with like, my boyfriend/fiancé is the best, most loving, most caring, most perfect individual, we're so compatible, but there's one problem that we have together, and it's just the most blatant and horrific black flag I've ever seen in a relationship. But this post is kind of a good resource here, because if you're ever in a relationship where you have medication that's positively affecting your life, and your partner for some reason is trying to actively sabotage that, that's a black flag, and you should probably get out of there. I mean, hell, that actually goes for a lot of things beyond just medication. So definitely, if you're in a situation where your partner is actively trying to decline your health, and it feels like they're trying to make you increasingly reliant upon them, and that is very much not good, and you should definitely talk to someone else about that, and potentially start laying the groundwork to get out of that situation. This post was collected by Uncle Enzo, and their tagline is Norway with the flag. That's it. The original OP is Pet Theft Throw, posted in r/legal advice and r/am I the asshole. Originally posted May 10th, 2018, and the post is titled, Am I the asshole for refusing to return a lost pet? OP does provide a photo or cat tags of the pet, but it's not a photo, it's a Microsoft Paint drawing, so here's that. And for those of you who are audio only, it's as glorious as you would imagine. It's an orange cat with the lovely text of, fuck you, feed me. So over 2 years ago, a cat appeared in my yard. He was skinny, skittish, unneutered, and had a serious abscess on his rump, likely from a cat bite wound. I took him to the vet that night and had him treated. The vet estimated he was about 6 months old. I called the local county shelters to file a found cat report. I also posted on Craigslist, posted his info at local vet offices, and kept an eye out for flyers. He was scanned for microchip, but didn't have one. At that point, I didn't intend on keeping him and planned to find him a home when he was healthy. After his abscess healed, he was still limping, and we discovered his hind leg had been fractured and healed poorly. I spent several thousand to fix it, and he just sort of slipped into the family. To recap, I found a sick cat and spent a good chunk to get him healthy. The cat had no ID, and no one responded to my efforts to find the owner. I've now had the cat for almost 2.5 years. Recently, someone contacted me on social media claiming to be the cat's original owner. The cat has distinctive markings, and he has pictures to back this up. They allowed the cat to free roam and assumed he had been killed when he failed to return home one night. The owner's daughter was very upset by the loss. He wanted the cat back. I refused on the basis that I've now had the cat longer than the original owner did, and his lack of responsibility in searching for the cat or providing a form of ID. I feel I did my due diligence, and I'm now very attached to the kitty in question. I also worry about his future if I did return him. I've been told by the owner and some of his friends that I'm a giant asshole for disappointing the daughter and stealing the cat. I think they're the asshole for writing their cat off as dead without a search and expecting me to give him up after having him for 2 years. Question mark, question mark. General verdict was not the asshole with the top comment, "Keep the damn cat, the daughter can't be that sad after 2 years. After you put money into fixing the poor guy, he was yours no matter what." The first update appeared on r/legal advice. The contributor and collector leaves the comment that they left out the first few paragraphs that repeat info from the Am I the Asshole post. Fast forward to a few months ago. Someone contacted me on social media claiming to be the cat's original owner. The cat has a distinctive marking, and he does have photos that appear to be the same cat as a kitten. He claimed that they allowed the cat outside, and one night he didn't return. They assumed he was dead, and per the man himself, made no effort to find him. The cat was less than 6 months old when he disappeared and less than a year when I found him. The man claimed his daughter was devastated and wants the cat returned. I did not confirm the cat was the same animal since I can't know for sure, but I did say if it was the same cat, I've now had him for longer than the original potential owner, 6 months versus almost 3 years. Due to this and the fact that he had no tag or chip and the owner never searched for him, I don't feel I have to return him. I have not contacted the man since, but he continues to message me at least once a week and is now threatening to take me to court. I have not replied. Is this something I need to worry about? Should I look into getting a lawyer? If he did try to sue for cat custody, would he have a case? Considering the timeline, it's likely the cat's leg was broken while in the care of the owner, and my vet is willing to testify to that. Would that increase the likelihood I would win if he tried to sue? I'm really not willing to give up this cat. I've paid over $5,000 getting him healthy, but more important than the money is the simple fact that I love the furry little jerk. I don't want him going back to a home that neglected him and let him roam around without even the most basic care. I don't believe the man knows where I live. My social media was pretty locked down as far as personal info in the first place. I don't actually know how he found me though, and that makes me nervous. If he continues contacting me, is there anything I can do legally to discourage that? Some relevant comments I scrounged up. Fenry comments, "There's no such thing as cat custody. Cats are property. He can sue you in small claims for the value of a kitten, so, nothing. Ignore him. If sued, respond." Deleted user comments, "Ignore him and block him. He might sue you for the value of the cat in small claims, if he can prove to a judge that it is indeed the same cat. Even if you lose the case, it's unlikely that a court is going to issue a writ of replevin to return the actual cat. His daughter has no doubt moved on with her life, if this is indeed her cat." Second update on legal advice. Recap. Years ago, I rescued an injured stray cat. The cat had no ID or chip, and I made a good faith effort to look at the owner. I ended up fostering and eventually adopting the cat, and I spent a good bit of money to repair his broken leg. Earlier this year, I started getting messages on social media, then someone claiming to be the cat's original owner. They admitted they never searched for the cat after he disappeared, but did have pictures of a kitten with the same distinctive markings. They wanted the cat returned. I refused because they didn't have firm proof it was the same animal. I've now had the cat substantially longer than they've supposedly did, 6 months versus 3 years. The cat's injuries would have occurred while under their care if they did indeed originally own him. On advice from the good people here, I blocked further messages. Yesterday, I got a letter in the mail demanding return of the cat. Previously, they were only contacting me on social media, which did not have my home address or any identifying information. I don't know how they found out where I live, but I'm now very worried they might try to steal the cat. I have home security and the cat is indoor only and chipped. I'd like to think the guy wouldn't be dumb enough to break and enter, but clearly he isn't firing on all cylinders to begin with. Should I file a police report? Can I even do that if they haven't broken any laws? The letter didn't contain any specific threats, just demands. Is there anything I can do legally to discourage further contact? Could a lawyer do something like a cease and desist letter? I have no idea why this dude wants the cat he wrote off as dead years ago back so damn badly, but Kitty is happy and healthy and sassy and not going anywhere. I don't want to spend my life afraid to run out to the store though, so any advice would be much appreciated. Additional comments that I feel are worth including. User Ekasirf comments, a common scam is to claim to be the original pet owner with photos of the pet as a baby. Then you demand it back, but eventually you agree to take money instead. Lots of pets look alike as babies, especially if you didn't actually own them at the time. User Schoonbug responds, the location matters in a situation like this. Generally, animal control laws have a specified time that you have to be in possession of an animal before you are considered the owner, assuming you've also made a good faith effort to find the owner. The municipality where I live defines an owner as someone who has fed, sheltered, and cared for an animal for 3 or more days. The OP says he fostered and then adopted the animal. Assuming it went through a stray hold at a shelter and he fostered it during that time period and adopted afterwards, there should be an adoption contract. If he just did it by himself, there should still be a local provision for what period of time constitutes ownership. User Oddle comments, smells like a scam. Cats can also look really similar to each other despite distinctive markings. I once mistook a new stray cat for mine because he had the same white feet, same white paws, same coloring, etc. Sometimes I find photos/videos online and wow, do these cats look like they could have been mine too? Plus, you can't really say a 6-month-old kitten looks the same as an adult cat. Cats do change features as they mature. So they're bullshitting you that they recognize their cat. Anyway, you can send them a cease and desist letter, and if they continue to harass you, you can explore further options. Third update on legal advice 1 year later. Recap. Years ago, I took in an injured kitten. Earlier this year, I was contacted on social media by someone claiming to be the original owner. They demanded a return of the kitty and I ignored them. They then escalated to sending letters to my home. Some legal advice posters thought it might be a scam. I was skeptical because they hadn't asked for money, even after things had dragged on for a while. Well, I guess they were playing the long con because I just got my first letter suggesting a few $100s might just assist the owner to move on from their loss. As a bonus, it was sent on a letterhead from a non-existent lawyer's office. If I don't pay the cat fee, they plan to sue. My favorite part is that they don't specify for what exactly. They're just going to sue. You know, like lawyers do. I'm still kinda worried they might try to steal Kitty and demand a ransom. Kitty is indoor only, chipped, and rarely left alone. On days I do have to work in office, I've been taking him in with me. But yeah, I'm thinking this is one of the weirder catfishing schemes on record. I tried to tell Kitty about his custody dispute, but he just yawned in my face and joined his big brothers for a celebratory afternoon nap. Though he did hack up a hairball on my pill yesterday. Paying someone else to take him is starting to look pretty tempting. Final update, the exceptionally stupid ending to the cat scam saga. You all thought it was over. So did I, but no. Turns out this story really could get weirder. Recap, years ago I took in an injured cat. The cat did not have a collar or chip. A good faith attempt was made to locate possible owners. After owning the cat for several years, I began receiving messages on social media from someone claiming to be the original owner. They demanded I return the cat and I refused and blocked them. Eventually, they escalated to sending me letters to my home on a letterhead from a non-existent lawyer's office. The letters demanded I pay hundreds for the privilege of keeping the cat, or they would sue. For what exactly was unspecified. At this point, it was clear this was a scam, albeit a bizarre one. Someone on the Best of Legal Advice thread suggested reporting the letters to the Bar Association. I ignored the first two, but when they kept arriving, I went ahead and did so. I assume the Bar Association took some kind of action because the next letter I received was basically the scammer raging, "How dare you!" This was the first letter that contained an actual threat against my safety. So to cut this already way too long story short, I filed a police report. After some additional letters, my cat now has a no contact order. Okay. It's in my name, but we all know it's really for the cat. I will say the threats were of the more creative, less actionable sort, but I'm hopeful this will truly put an end to it. This is honestly the single dumbest thing I've ever gone through. My cat continues not to care. So this kind of implies the fact that there are people that make a living or at least make a side hustle on going through lost animal posters, or found animal posters I should say, hunting down the person who picked up the animal, finding a look-alike, and then pretty much just harassing them and trying to extort them for money. That's fucked up, because this is someone who is actively seeking out vulnerable people to target with this scam. People who may have the lingering guilt of picking up an animal that may have been someone else's, but falling in love with it, and now swinging for the fences and hitting where it hurts. Just disgusting. On another note, ever since my previous legal interactions I've had to deal with, anytime someone threatens to sue, I can't help but to cackle. Like, do you have any idea what actually goes into suing someone? Even if it's just going to small claims court, good fucking luck with that. Most people use it as some kind of faux posturing of like, oh, well, I'm gonna sue you, and you're gonna be ruined financially because of, X, Y, and Z bullshit reason. I've watched a few legal shows, so I think it's just that easy. Oh, no, darling, it is not. Also, it is definitely a note worth noting is that if you ever receive a legal letter that's fraudulent in any way, whether it's they don't actually represent that client or the law firm just simply doesn't exist, don't be afraid to weaponize the Bar Association and give them something to actually be stressed about, because if they're willing to try and freak you out and stress you out about potentially being sued, why not put the shoe on the other foot? Give them something to actually be stressed about. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSupps. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.